So as you can tell from my channel, I love self-help, but I think that the self-help movement is missing something, which I think I can help with. So let's begin. So in this video, we're gonna do three things. First of all, we're gonna outline all of these core foundational books, what's in them, why are they good. Second of all, we're gonna outline where they fail. Third of all, I'm gonna add where I can help to make your self-help goals more successful and more efficient. So The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. It's a great book. It's very similar to the 33 Strategies of War, also written by Robert Greene. They all go down and list different strategies, different principles, which he believes can help you to, number one, gain power, number two, control power, number three, not lose power. He references different wars, different generals like Napoleon, like Genghis Khan, and it's really great. If nothing more, it's a terrific history book, and I love military strategy, and that's all that it is. Then we get to 12 Rules for Life, Jordan Peterson. This is more psychology based. It goes into the dominance hierarchy. Then we get to Grit, which kind of talks about the power of perseverance, of hardship, all that stuff. Then we get to How to Win Friends and Influence People, which is really the core of the self-help movement. It was written a really long time ago. I have a 1980 copy. This book, along with other books like Think and Grow Rich, like Psycho-Cybernetics, are kind of the foundations which these books have come from. And they're really great reads, but we're going to get into their shortfalls later. I Moved Your Cheese is a classic business book. It's all about escaping the maze. Then 33 Strategies of War, we've already gone over. Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell is just about people who have managed to do something better than everybody else. And all of these books are really great books. But here we get to part two, where we discuss their shortcomings and where they lack some insight. All of these books are in some way a little gimmicky. They're gimmicky in the way that you read it, you think it's super interesting while you read it, and then 2 weeks later, you forget it and you kind of go back to your everyday life. And so the mark for me of a book that is not gimmicky is a book that will leave you with something after those 2 weeks. Now, I can say that a lot of these books have, but I think there's a simpler way to do that. Now we get to part three. So for part three, let's get into where I can help, where I have some insight that these books don't. And I really don't have the insight. What I have found is that somebody else knows the insight. And it's kind of been around me for my entire life. My grandfather, Dr. Albert Levis, is a Holocaust survivor, psychiatrist, and he spent his life researching conflict analysis, the mind, the unconscious, and all that. And what he has realized is that the key to being happy, the key to being fulfilled, is turning passivity into activity. And I really love that. None of these books really say that outright. And I think that's the most important thing that they can say. I find it really ironic that in 300 pages, they haven't managed to say the one thing that I think is the most valuable takeaway. What I find wrong with these books is that they merely list the gimmicks. They say, be a good listener, encourage others to talk about themselves. These are kind of gimmicks, one-off statements that can help you in certain situations, but aren't showing you the true light to a better future and to enacting change on a small level. So what does turning passivity into activity mean? Well, looking at it on a societal level. Basically, society has conditioned us to be more passive. Humans need to solve problems, and we've solved so many problems that we can afford to be more passive. Uber Eats, for example, is the passive alternative to making a garden, to growing your own food. TV is an alternative to making a play, to doing something with your own two hands and with your mind that is more active than simply reclining and watching something passive. Now, I think these solutions are great. They make our society so great today. But at the same time, if we are looking for some self-help cure, that is the cure. We need to reclaim our own activity and get out there. And that's kind of why I say do it. It's saying be active. Turn your own passivity into activity. And that's, I think, what these books aren't saying. That simple statement, I believe, has the power to cure so much of the illness we see today. So I guess the fourth part of the video, now that I've shared that message, is to decide what to do now. I think the only response is now to share that message. These books are incredibly popular and have helped so many people, but they only work if you already know that you need to take your passivity into activity. If you're doubtful, just try it. Why not, right? Take your passive habits and make them active and see how you feel after. These books are great, as I have said so many times before, but they are only partial discoveries. I think we have the last puzzle piece that can help the world. So let's do that. Please get out there, spread this message, and turn your own passivity into activity.